Okay, let's just dive right in. Have you ever bitten into a gorgeous, bright red strawberry only to be met with, well, something that tastes like crunchy water? Today, we're going to figure out what's behind that nagging feeling that our food just isn't what it used to be.
And look, it is not just you. This exact question was posted on a popular online forum, and believe me, the response was overwhelming. It seems like absolutely everyone has a story about a flavorless peach or a totally bland melon. It's a shared experience we can all unfortunately relate to.
And this comment right here, man, this one really hits home for a lot of us. It just perfectly captures that feeling, that nostalgia, for flavor that feels like it's just vanished. It confirms that, yeah, something important really has been lost. So let's be crystal clear. You are not imagining it. The decline in flavor is a real thing. So for the rest of this explainer, we're going to put on our detective hats. We are going to solve the case of the flavorless fruit, following the clues to uncover what is really going on. All right, our investigation starts with the most obvious culprit, the long, tough journey our fruit has to take. I'm talking from a farm, maybe halfway across the world, all the way to the aisle of your local grocery store.
So to make sure that fruit arrives at the store looking all pretty and perfect, it's usually picked while it's still green. I mean, hard as a rock. This is called premature harvesting. And here's the crucial part. All the good stuff, the development of natural sugars and those complex flavors, that magic happens on the vine. By picking it early, we're pretty much stopping that whole flavor-making process dead in its tracks.
This quote just nails the problem, doesn't it? A perfectly ripe, homegrown tomato is so delicate, so juicy, you can barely even handle it. But industrial agriculture, it needs tough stuff that can be shipped. So that beautiful, ripe-on-the-vine moment gets sacrificed for pure logistics. But hold on, because this is where our investigation gets really juicy. Picking fruit early and shipping it for miles, that's definitely part of the story. But it doesn't explain everything. No, the conspiracy, it turns out, goes so much deeper. Okay, so picking fruit early, that's clue number one. But our second clue reveals something way more fundamental. The problem isn't just when the fruit is picked, it's the very DNA of the fruit itself. For decades, we've been fundamentally changing what our fruit even is. Now, this slide right here gets right to the heart of it all, the trade-off. For more than 50 years, huge agricultural companies have been breeding produce for traits that make them more money. Look at that supermarket fruit column. High durability, long shelf life, perfect uniform look. That's great for business. But then look at the flavor row. In the race for a perfect-looking fruit that can be shipped around the globe, flavor, as you can see, was almost never a priority. And the poster child for this whole mess? You guessed it. The red, delicious apple. It was once a beloved variety, but it was bred over and over for its deep red color and its ability to sit in a warehouse for months. The result is a fruit that looks absolutely perfect on the outside, but is often mealy, watery, and just deeply, deeply disappointing on the inside. To really get how this happens, let's zoom in and look at a specific case study. The modern supermarket tomato. Its story tells you everything you need to know about the science and the business decisions that got us here. The key piece of tech here is something called an F1 hybrid. Don't worry, it's not that complicated. Just think of it like genetic matchmaking. Scientists take two different parent plants, like one that makes huge tomatoes and another that's super durable, and they cross-pollinate them. The whole goal is to create a first-generation superstar that gets the best traits from both parents. But the key is which traits they decide are the best. And this timeline shows you exactly how that choice played out. Back in the 80s, we got crash test tomatoes. No joke, that's what they were called. Bred to be tough enough to survive shipping. Then, in the 90s, came a total game changer, the eternal tomato. Scientists made this by breeding a regular tomato with one that had a genetic quirk that stopped it from ripening. This stretched its shelf life from days to weeks. It was a massive win for shipping. But as you can see, the final trade-off was a huge loss of both flavor and nutrients. And this quote, wow. This quote from a researcher at a major seed company just says it all. The industry's mindset was basically that flavor was optional, something you, the customer, could just add later with some salt and oil. It was a very conscious choice, made for profit and logistics. But here it is, the biggest twist in our entire investigation. That loss of flavor, it isn't just some unfortunate side effect. It's a clue that points to a much bigger, hidden crime, a massive heist of the nutritional value of our food.
The data here is, honestly, it's shocking. When you compare food data from the 1960s to today, you see this dramatic drop in vital nutrients across 70 of our most common fruits and veggies. Just think about this. On average, they've lost 16% of their calcium, 27% of their vitamin C, and nearly half of their iron. You would have to eat almost 2 modern oranges just to get the iron of one single orange from the 1960s. That's wild.
So, here's the crucial link, the key to the whole mystery. Flavor and nutrition are two sides of the same coin. As researchers have found, the very chemical compounds that create flavor in a fruit are often built from the nutrients that are good for us. So when you start breeding for things like durability and shelf life, you're not just ignoring nutrition, you are actively breeding the flavor right out of the food. And there's an accomplice in this whole crime, our soil. Think of healthy soil as this bustling city of tiny microorganisms. This microbiome is like the plant's digestive system. It breaks down minerals and feeds them to the roots. But decades of industrial farming have basically turned that bustling city into a ghost town. And without that healthy microbiome, the plant is basically starving, unable to pull in the nutrients it needs to create both nutrition and flavor. Okay, so the case against industrial produce is pretty strong, but our investigation isn't over. The good news is, now that we know who the culprits are, we can learn how to outsmart them. It's time to crack the final part of this case, how to find the real flavor you've been missing. So the big question is, if the supermarket is just a minefield of blandness, where is all the good stuff hiding? Well, based on advice from hundreds of folks who've been on this same mission, we've put together a list of strategies that actually work. Here are the 4 big steps. First, buy local and in season. That cuts down on travel time, which means the fruit was probably picked much closer to when it was actually ripe. Second, ask questions. At the farmer's market, ask the vendor if they actually grew the produce themselves. Third, and this one is huge, use your senses. If a peach smells like a peach, it's probably going to taste like a peach. And finally, if you can, try growing your own. Seriously, even a single tomato plant on a balcony can be a total revelation. And here are a few more quick pro tips. Don't sleep on frozen fruit. It's often flash frozen right at peak ripeness, which locks in all that flavor and nutrition. Actively look for heirloom varieties. Those were bred for taste. You-pick farms are amazing for getting the absolute freshest berries. And remember that stone fruits like peaches and nectarines, they'll keep ripening on your countertop. So we'll end with this question. If all this research is telling us that rich, complex flavor is our body's clue for high nutritional value, then what exactly is blandness telling us about the food we eat every day? It's definitely something to chew on the next time you're in the produce aisle. Thanks for joining the investigation.